Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Psychic Diaries on veryparanormal.com. I'm Michael Lamport. I'm the producer and narrator of the psychic show Rescue Mediums. And with me, as always, is Jackie Dennison, who is one of the hosts of Rescue Mediums and the co-owner of Feathers Academy of Clairvoyance in the north of England. And today on the show, we are delighted. We have Krista with us, who is psychic and a bunch of other stuff. She'll tell you. And it's just wonderful to have you here.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here.
Well, so tell us a little bit about the I know a bit about it because I've met you before, about the Seeker Circle.
Sure. So over the last few years, I've been on a bit of a spiritual journey and definitely a seeker. And when I started to learn the things I was learning, I just thought there must be others like me who just are ravenous to learn more about the spiritual side of this human experience. And I decided I'd start an online community where I could bring in expert guests and we could explore together.
I think that's fantastic, especially these days, as we all know. This is a weird time for all of us. And I think the seeker aspect can be very helpful to all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great especially when we all kept at home so much, that we had this community where we could continue to connect and bond and grow together.
Yeah. Or instead of connecting and bonding, we just run away upstairs and get away from everybody.
Yeah.
I love the fact that I've written the word down because I think it's fabulous. Ravenous to learn. What a great expression that is, a ravenous to learn. But you know what? That really sums it up, doesn't it? When you start on your spiritual pathway, it really sums up that thirst for knowledge. And the more you learn, the more you question, and then the more you learn again. What was your very first experience, sort of psychic experience?
Well, I feel like I have been a tough nut to crack for spirit. Like, I feel like my rational mind was really strong, and I feel like kind of spirit was trying to crack open this other side of living. And so it was kind of an experience over the years. But what really kind of kickstarted it was my 16-year-old son all of a sudden was deathly ill. He had a bleed in his brain, just spontaneous, and he was in the neurosurgery unit of the St. John Hospital. And we didn't know if he was going to pull through. Like, it was just kind of very sudden. And at that time, I had just opened my second store, my second location. And I was, it was just a crazy time. And my son, Andy, was fine. He healed, and he's perfect now. But it was a very scary experience, of course, as a mother. And once he got out of the hospital and he was doing okay, I kind of just dove right back into the work because I had put so much into this brand new store, and I really didn't take the time to process everything and to just heal. So probably about a month or two after the trauma, I started to get a terrible nerve pain. And over the next year, it just got worse, so that I was laid up a lot. And here I was with two stores trying to run. And for about a week or so at a time, I couldn't be upright. The pain was really intense. Oh. And over that year, I was listening to podcasts and reading, and that's when things kind of opened up to me. I started discovering a whole new way of looking at things, and I was my mind was blown. I couldn't believe it. I was like, how did I not know this? I'm in my 40s, and no one ever taught me any of these things about, the power of our thoughts, the power of our intention, and how we are not just sheep, which is kind of how I look at things. Like, whatever happens to us, it happens to us, and we just have to, do the best we can. But I didn't ever realize that we could kind of create our own life. So anyway, eventually I was trying all the usual routes, the chiropractor, the physiotherapist, my family doctor. I wasn't getting any relief until I finally decided I'll try Reiki. I really didn't know much about it, but through that one Reiki appointment, it was amazing. Like it was total energy healing. And what I discovered is that, that trauma, that pain, I never really released it. I never was a big crier. I didn't allow my emotions to flow. And so in that Reiki appointment, first thing she asked me was, what happened just prior to your back pain starting? And it was then that I realized it was all connected with my son's sudden illness. And I had never put the two together. I just didn't even think of it. And so that appointment, I was just a mess of tears, and and it was just like this huge release. I coughed and coughed and coughed, which was like this energy coming up. It was the releasing of all this. And after that appointment, I came off all the medications I was on. It was incredible. So
that's astounding. That's absolutely wonderful. Let me ask you a question though, about your two shops.
Okay.
What do you what do they hold? What do you sell?
So I always had a dream of having a home decor shop, which would sell pretty things that I liked. And now we sell, it's kind of evolved over time. And it's really interesting how that happened. But now we sell crystals, and we sell tarot cards and oracle cards. We sell pendulums, rune stones, little cauldrons. And it's really kind of evolved into quite a funny little niche store with quite a variety of things.
Wow, that's fantastic.
I love that. I want to visit your store.
Anytime.
It's my kind of store.
But how I got into the crystals was, my first store was in St. Andrews by the Sea, which is a tourist town. And when I opened it, I was taking over the space that used to be a crystal store. And so that first summer I opened, the families would come on vacation, and the kids would come looking for crystals and wanting to pick up their crystals. And so I thought, oh, well, I could probably carry a few crystals for these, these people that are still looking for it. And that's kind of how I started learning and, carrying crystals and learning about how they work.
I think the crystals were saying to you, you need to sell me.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you find that? Do you find that crystals call to you?
Yes. Yeah. And I've always, I think most people as children they're attracted to crystals, but when I was little, my grandmother had this beautiful chunk of amethyst that I always admired, and eventually she gave it to me, and I still have it. And I find crystals very, very helpful in my daily life.
Yeah.
Do you think that crystals, you say, like, as a young person, they're attracted to them. Do you think that because the young people are not as segregated in their mind as we are as adults, that they're more open to this sort of thing?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, for sure. Like you say, they're just open to following what catches their interest, and they just follow their heart.
Yeah, which can be annoying sometimes.
True.
So, do you find that the children tend to go for the same types of crystal, or is it very much a personality thing?
Yeah, I find It varies. They, you know, we carry lots of different small tumbled stones, and they usually go for those. And no, it varies. They usually pick out a different assortment, and that's how I recommend for all people when they're just starting out with crystals and they're like, what do I need? I was like, just follow what catches your eye, what you're attracted to. I always feel that that's the best way to pick the perfect crystal for yourself.
And you know, it's like that at Feathers, the little shop that I have in the north of England, as Michael says, in Northwich. It is in the northwest of England, and we have the little tumble stones. We have rough crystals as well, which are nice. But what I find is the pendulums. We have an array of pendulums there. We have some pendulums that one of the locals actually makes for us as well, and it's like they communicate with each other. It's like all these crystals, all of a sudden one will start moving on its own, and then you'll find one that's got a similar vibration, maybe on a different stand, that'll start to move as well. Does that happen to you too?
Yeah, and actually that was kind of part of my awakening, because I was selling crystals and pendulums, but I didn't even really ever pick up a pendulum and try it for myself. I would tell people how to do them, but I just wasn't even thinking in that way for myself. And I finally realized that when I'd stand beside my pendulum stand, one would always move. And it took a while for me to take notice. And, you know, a few times I'd go stand there and the same one would move. And so I finally picked it up and I took it back to my office and closed the door and started asking it questions. And it was blowing me away at how accurate it was. And because I'd ask it questions that I knew the answer to, you know, to test it. And I thought, whoa, this is really cool.
Did it ever scare you that when they moved like that and then you picked it up, were you scared?
No, not at all. No, it felt like a very positive energy, like a very good thing.
Yeah, you are an energy worker, aren't you? You work a lot with how things flow.
Yeah.
I like when you were saying about, you know, with the Reiki, that you were asked, did something happen just prior to you having this? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, yes, that makes so much sense. Because we tend to hold on to things, don't we? That we don't realize we're holding on to. And then it is that release. You know, and obviously, you know, medically, if there is something medically wrong, then, you know, you need to obviously see your GP about that. But when the two are balanced together, medical science, and when we've got this energy as well, this understanding of healing, this natural healing energy, they work so well together.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, because I do have bulging discs in my spine, and so that's where the nerve pain was originating. And I've learned that when you have a trauma or an unreleased energy, that it goes to a weakened area of your body, and so that tends to be where you'll have a flare up. So, you know, I still get, my back still bothers me if I'm, you know, perhaps doing something that I shouldn't be, like physically, like shoveling or something. My back will get sore because I do have that weakness there. But the nerve pain that radiated from that is completely gone. So it's
incredible.
Really interesting.
I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And just to echo what Jackie was saying is, and what you were saying is, when you think of like current day medical situations, although they're very good and very, very helpful, but if you look at ancient Asian and Chinese medicine, 5,000 years ago, they didn't have the capabilities that we have now, and they had herbs and mental things that would help you. And I just think that a lot of people should do more of that. That Reiki, and just not like, don't go and buy 2 bottles of aspirin.
Right. It's a kind of about finding the balance.
What?
It's about finding the balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you teach that, Krista, in the Seeker Circle?
Well, yes, I'm really big on helping people learn how to find their answers within. I think we're so trained on, asking other people for their opinions and going to experts, which it has a place, not to say you shouldn't, but I also think we can find a lot of our answers just by going within, through meditation, through time away from social media, getting into nature. It's amazing how much information can come to you if you just quiet your mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I love
You're
meditating.
absolutely right about coming into nature, because the old like a walk through the Black Forest or whatever, it makes you feel better. Like you look at the trees, you look at the stars, and they influence us, I think, very greatly.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always been huge on going for walks in the woods my whole life. I would, take my dogs just back in the woods and walk, and I would always feel better afterwards.
Are you a tree hugger? Are you a tree hugger?
I am.
Yes.
But I didn't really look at this, the spiritual side of it and the energy, in that communion with the natural world, how it affects us. I just knew that I liked to go for walks and it felt better afterwards. But, over the last few years, I've really learned, why it's so helpful and how we can get more out of our time in nature if we're really present and kind of shut down the rational mind with our to-do lists and what we have to pick up at the grocery store and, all those things that tend to really take over our thoughts. But if we can kind of just be really present and take in the sights and the smells and the sounds of nature, how healing it is.
You're absolutely right. And I think that taking in the sights and sounds and smells of nature is what we all must do more, because nature's there to help us. It's not there to hinder us, but I believe it's there to help us. And I think we should do more of that, and people should recognize that aspect of their lives.
Yeah, I totally agree. And with the technology, it seems like humanity's just getting further and further away from it.
Yes, we are. Until they come up with until Google comes up with a nature-based forum that we can use.
Yeah,
I think you're right. I mean, what we're using right now is Zoom, and it's completely not nature driven, I don't think.
One of the ways that I like to meditate, because I love to be near water. And so one of the ways that I meditate is, especially when, in a lockdown situation, when you're not allowed out of your home or whatever, is to listen to the sounds of nature. With me, it's the sound of hearing the waves coming in from the ocean over the stones, and just being mindful of that sound. And what is so incredible is, maybe this is just me and just being the weird person I am, I don't know, but it's the sound of the sound puts the smell there, then puts the other senses there, as if I'm totally there on that beach, and I can feel those, the soft sand and maybe the pebbles. I can hear that. Puts me totally in the moment. So maybe you could do that with like bird call, or the sounds of the wind rustling through the trees. So there's many things that people can do to bring nature into their own home if they can't get out.
Yeah, it's so true. There's so many just on YouTube or Spotify or those different apps. You can find so many beautiful tracks that is just, I was listening to one the other day. It's like the wind in the trees and a campfire crackling, and it's just so soothing.
Yeah, that's another one, isn't it? The campfire. And it instantly, you sort of like, oh, this is heaven. Because it has that sound that produces a warmth to it. I just to let you know that my cat is on the table. If you see something swishing across in front, it's the cat.
Okay. This is my, I'm in my little seeker studio, which is an upstairs bedroom at my house. And my cat loves this room. One of my sons grew up and moved out. And so I took over this space, and my cat thinks this is his space. So he often will pull open the door behind me and come in.
Yeah. You know, because they know, don't they? Animals react to energy. So how does the cat react to like the crystals and things, or when you're doing energy work?
He just, it's interesting. When I first, he kind of just is very present. He just will be attracted, you know, when I'm in here meditating or doing some sort of work with crystals, he just comes a lot. So I feel like he's attracted to it. But the same thing with my dog. When I first started meditating, I found it very interesting how if I was just totally relaxed, she would just come sit beside me.
Fabulous. Because Michael's got a cat, and your cat is very active when you're meditating and things.
Oh yeah. I think, I mean, I've had several cats in my life, and the one I have now is actually an a street cat, I guess you'd call him. And I've had him for about 2 or 3 years, and I don't like the fact that he likes to go outside, but he does. And but yeah, he's pretty tough, and wakes me up every morning with headbutts and everything like that. But no, it's funny. I also think very strongly that animals get more about the paranormal and about stuff than we do as humans, because I think as we grow older, we shield ourselves from this. Maybe because we watch too many Hollywood movies, like The Exorcist or something. And we're scared of it, whereas animals are just really open. They're just like, hey, oh my God, that's a spirit in the house. How are you doing? That's what I think.
I agree.
With the Seeker Circle, Krista, do you teach like psychic development as well?
Yeah, I have a big focus on intuition. So helping people learn to listen to their intuition. I feel like it's just something that it's not, most people when they're growing up, nobody teaches them how to listen to that inner voice, that gut instinct. And it's amazing how once you start realizing it's there to help you and you start listening, it can be such a valuable tool in your day-to-day life. And so it's kind of like a superpower we all have. And so I really love
superpowers. Yes.
So I love teaching people to tap into that.
Krista, do you think that intuition is also like, because Jackie's always told me this, always like sort of signs when you have an impression in your head about somebody or something, and then you see something as simple as a street sign that has the name on it that you were thinking of. And then, you know, you go down that road and then there's a store that has the name on it that you were thinking of. Do you think that's similar to intuition?
Yeah, I think it's all connected. You know, those signs that help guide us. I think that we all have that connection to divine that's running through us. And so that's like, it's like a web of energy that we're all connected. And so when we see those signs, when we see those little nudges, when we feel it from within, I think it's all connected and there to help us. And I do love it, especially, you know, sometimes you see something and you wonder, is it just a coincidence? But then you see it like 3 times. When it's 3 times, I'm always like, okay, this is for sure something I need to take notice of.
And we've got to be more open for this, don't we? I mean, everybody has to let themselves be open to it. Because if you close yourself, in a way, you're just like, not destroying it, but you're, I don't know, putting it in darkness, putting it away.
Yeah.
And you've got to be open to it.
Yeah, totally. And that rational part of our brain will always question things and make you wonder if you're just being foolish. So I just tell people, just, you know, there is a place for the rational mind. It's important, but when it comes to this sort of thing, it's okay to just tell it to be quiet sometimes.
Maybe we should get an operation to take the rational part of our brain out somewhere else in our body. And then just our regular brain can go like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Can you imagine the experiences we'd have then?
It's really about getting people to tap into like their inner child, really, their creativity, because as a child we don't have the same inhibitions, do we? So it's about getting back to basics, getting back to that childhood feel of going, oh, isn't that marvelous, look at that, you know, and following it. I'm not thinking, oh no, I'm not really seeing that, that's my imagination, you know.
Right. Yeah. I had an interesting experience. When I was a child, I always had this vision and this dream of living in the forest in a small cottage with all the animals around me, like kind of like Snow White. And I, you know, I had this picture in my mind. And a couple of years ago, I went for a past life regression. And so I discovered that I indeed lived in a place like that. And I was like a healer. I worked with the nature, with the herbs and the plants, and helped people, and was hung as a witch. But I just found it so interesting that as a child, like I remembered that. And it was there, but you know, as you grow up, you kind of shut down that part of your mind that remembers those things.
Yeah, it's so cool. I love past life work. You know, when you tap into that and you go, that's where I know that from, because we can then use it in our everyday life. If we can tap into what we knew in previous lifetimes, we can actually bring that forward, can't we, and use it in our everyday life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I'm sure that's what you're doing now. You know, you're tapping into the things then that were natural, which is obviously why you like to be in the forest and walk through the forest. It's a natural place for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I call myself a woods witch because
I love
where
that.
I'm happiest.
I love that.
Why? And everybody, I think, who's a grown up, if that's a real word, watching this, I wonder why we leave our childhood experiences that we were so open to. Why do they go away? And is it just conditioning? Is it, oh, I don't know. I mean, everybody still has childhood dreams, but why do they dissipate so quickly?
I feel like, yeah, the conditioning is a huge part of it, because, you know, as we go to school and we have to follow the rules and do our lessons and make sure we're at the right place at the right time, I feel like that system kind of nurtures the rational side of our mind, and there's not really the nurturing of the more childlike spiritual side of things.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, and it can come back in later life, as otherwise we wouldn't be doing this now, the kind of work we're doing now. Do you have a spirit guide that you're aware of? Do you communicate with guides? I
do. It's something that's been developing over the last couple of years. So I did it all started with a shamanic journeying that I took part in to meet a spirit guide, and her name is Ariel. And I found that very interesting because when I looked it up, she was like an angel of nature. And so I've come to work with her a lot and call her in for support and guidance. So yeah, I feel like she's an energy from nature, really. That's how I like, kind of like an elemental based energy that helps me. And another thing that I figured out is soon after I met Ariel, and in that journey, she was wearing blue, like a a blue scarf over her head. And since then, I see blue jays like crazy, which it was something I'd hardly ever see a blue jay. And now I see them almost daily, and I'll see flocks of blue jays. And after a while, I was like, what is with these blue jays? And then I kind of put it together that it's a sign from my guide.
Yeah, I love when they do that. You know, you get a blue jay, I get a great big turtle in the middle of the road, you know.
It's funny that you see blue jays. It's like where I am right now in Toronto, the Blue Jays, which is a baseball team, and I'm not a big sports fan, but they don't play in Toronto anymore. They play in Buffalo.
That's right.
They had to get out of Toronto. So, the Blue Jays have gone.
That's right.
But you know, that also brings into play, interestingly enough, with the word play with the baseball, but it brings into play the animal totems as well, because of course, as we know, spirit guides will connect with us with animal totems, and we can learn so much from them. And I wasn't kidding when I said, you get the blue jays, I get the big turtle in the middle of the road, because that's what one of my guides brought to me, was just this big. Obviously, you know, you do a second take, it wasn't there. I physically could not see it there, although I could in the beginning. But what happened was, over the following sort of 2 or 3 months, I kept seeing, I'd turn on the TV, there were turtles. Somebody would be talking about it, even the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you know. So there's something there that you go, oh, I get it. Oh, I get what you're trying to say to me, you know. So it's fantastic. I love when they do this. I just love working with spirit energy. It's amazing.
I agree. My first year that I kind of started this whole spiritual journey, I had 3 experiences with a fox, which I found quite profound, because not only did I just see a fox, but each time the fox stopped and like looked me like dead in the eye and like paused for several seconds and just looked at me, and then was on its way. But I found that so interesting, because it was the 3 times, and kind of the message I was getting from fox was that there's the unseen, you know. Foxes are known to be kind of sly, and so there's that unseen realm that is very much real. It's not, you know, so much of our society doesn't take it into effect, and it doesn't, you know, even understand that it's there, the spirit realm. But that was my message from fox, is that there's more than can be seen.
I think that's amazing, because I think you're absolutely right, because foxes are sort of ethereal animals, and I don't think that they are like sort of carnivorous killers, although they got to eat, but they seem to be stealthy and look around the world in a very different way than we do.
Krista, do you find that your energy can affect electrical things like computers? Like that just happened to me now. I find that alarms go off in shops, and things stop working. Tills will stop working. The phone won't work.
That hasn't been something I tend to experience personally, but one of my good friends, she experiences that a lot. She was quite a magical person, and I remember one trip we went on, she couldn't use her bank card or Visa, like nothing seemed to work. Whenever she'd go to buy something, things just were wonky around her.
Yeah, welcome to my world.
I mean, I remember when we were doing the Rescue Medium series, that sometimes, even though the cameras and the sound system were completely loaded, the batteries were fine, that they would just go right down for no reason at all. And I don't know if that is just spirit taking the energy out of the battery, or like a mechanical malfunction. But it was often very, very odd.
Yeah.
Yeah, very frustrating.
Yeah.
So, you know, if somebody was to join the Seeker Circle, what can they hope to achieve by joining?
Okay, so actually we just welcomed lots of new members just about a week ago. So it's not open to new members all the time because I like to really put my focus in the circle. And then just 2 or 3 times a year, we open it for a few days to welcome new members. So for those that are just starting this month, well, actually October, our focus is going to be on witchcraft. So we will be having lots of fascinating guests, including you, Jackie. And we are going to be learning about how to make your own book of magic. So kind of a reference book where you can, as we're going through the year, we'll be learning lots of things in Seeker Circle, and it'll be a place where they can record you know, all the information. We're going to be learning about sigils. We've been talking about how to make your own magic symbol, the wheel of the year, and really getting in with the flow with nature and the seasons and not fighting against it. You know, one of my huge breakthroughs was I always hated winter, and living in Canada, we have a long winter, and I would dread it and I would complain about it all winter. And then through, you know, this path that I'm on, I've learned that it is a time to slow down. And I would always have this inner battle where I would think I should be getting more done, but I didn't have the energy to do it. And so now I know that, you know, with winter, my energy is going to be lower. I'm just going to take it easier, enjoy more time curled up with a book. And so, you know, we're going to learn about that, you know, getting into the flow with the seasons and nature, and how life is just easier when you can do that. We'll be talking about weather magic and ritual, and of course I'm really excited for the end of October. It's Halloween. Samhain is a full moon, so it's going to be a really big day. And next month we're going to be learning about crystals and crystal energy, and how you can you put that to work for yourself, how to make a crystal grid. So every month we have a different theme, and we bring in guests almost every week to share their journey, to share their wisdom on all different aspects, from you know, psychic mediums to, you know, we've had a voodoo priestess. So I just love to learn from all different aspects. Animal communicators, you know, energy healers, all sorts of different modalities, and I just love to learn from each and every one of them. So
I think that's great, because especially at this time in Canada and around the world, because of COVID, we're all sort of stuck without hairdressers. And we can take the time now to maybe reach out to learn more about what we wanted to learn about for years, like crystals, you know, like anything, like communicating with animals, with anything. And we can use this respite as a tool for learning. That's what I think we can do.
Yeah, absolutely.
How can people join the Seeker Circle?
Well, if they go to my Facebook page, they'll find a link where they can get on the wait list. So next time we open to new members will be February. So if they get on the wait list, then they'll receive an email letting them know it's time to join. And mainly we're based on, we have a private Facebook group. So to be a member, you need to have a Facebook profile so that you can take part in all the magic.
That's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And so what we'll do is we'll put a link to your Facebook page, and also a link, so they have to be a Facebook member. They have to have their own Facebook page to be able to become a member, so they can join in with everything.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we'll put a link to your Facebook page so that they can connect with you first.
Okay, great. Yeah, and I can
Perfect.
share the link to get on the wait list too.
Yeah, absolutely fascinating. Today, I'm just looking at the butterfly on the wall behind you. Then it's interesting because oh, you've got two butterflies there, because I'm wearing the butterfly around my neck today, and I wasn't wearing this earlier on. I got completely changed. I thought, what can I wear? What can I wear? And I could just see in my mind's eye butterfly wings. So I thought, that's it. That's what I'm going to put on. So my outfit was chosen as a result of this butterfly.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So I should have known. Yeah, because you've got butterflies there, which of course are a transformational time. And it's so wonderful that you're helping others to transform their lives too.
Oh, thank you.
And a butterfly is better than a caterpillar.
Well, you know, life has to start somewhere. Okay, Krista, it's been a fabulous time talking to you. Thank you so much for coming on to the Psychic Diaries.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
And we'll get people to direct to your Facebook page, and they can go on your waiting list.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Okay.
No, thank you, Krista. And thanks everybody for watching. And we'll give you information about how to get in touch with Krista at the end of this episode.
Okay, bye.